Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. I am jumping on this morning before I even get up and move around or go to church or anything, and I'll get on this evening to do No Cap Sunday to talk about, um, you know, how when it comes to parenting, how it can be very hard, to um, not do things based on what you want or uh, your own personal emotions. And I've seen examples of this so many times um, with parents. And this week it seems like it's just been like wow, crazy. From one extreme to the next, at times having to convince someone else it's not about you, it's about the child, whatever your issue is on your end with the other adults has nothing to do with the kid. Or seeing somebody go so far that they put their child in a situation, and it's a separate situation and a situation that could be detrimental to that child mentally just because of their own personal vendettas. Um, I have always been the type of mom that, or strive to be the type of mom that did not do things based on emotion or limit my children because of my limitations. It could be from anything as small as I don't eat eggs, but they love eggs, and I make them omelets and stuff. All while they were kids. I don't eat fish. They do. Kennedy loves a great, crab boil or something. I didn't limit them to what I feared. My son is very adventurous. He's that kid where he would jump off of stuff if you let him. He was probably love skydiving, and I'm that mom that's like, get down from there before you hurt yourself. But he had an opportunity to be adventurous, and he's still being adventurous even in his new career now. And I think that that's a big way to shape them, into great human beings by not limiting them by your limits, whether those limits be emotional limits or physical limits or things that you're just afraid of yourself. Don't push that stuff off on your kids, and don't let your own personal feelings about someone else or a certain situation make you make decisions that are just bad for your baby or your child. It's just crazy to me. I tell people all the time that one of the big reasons that I left in my first marriage, other than how bad things they got, I think that the kids were the main factor. I had to make a decision on whether I wanted them to grow up that way. If I wanted my daughter to view men that way and think that was normal, or my son to think that that's what men should be like, or even to resent me for being in that situation. And I left because I figured no man in the house at all was better than what, you know, I was dealing with at that time. But even after all of that, once my son got older and right before he went to college, he wanted to visit his biological dad in prison. I had no desire to do that. You know what I mean? I didn't want to go down there, visit, none of that. But because it was something that he needed and it wasn't about me, you see what I'm saying? It wasn't about me and what I wanted or needed. It was about him, and he felt like that's something he needed to do before he went to another chapter in life. Okay? And so I took him. I didn't go in because it wasn't necessary. It was a conversation that he and his biological dad needed to have and experience. Although, of course, he tried to get me to come, but I was like, no, I'm not coming in I sat in the car for 2 hours after I drove for probably over an hour to get there. I just so happened to just got a car, so I just sit there and listen to, Sirius, you know, while I waited on him because it was about him and what he needed. Okay. My daughter, she's not grown yet. And I'm a parent that needs to try to contact parents to get a good idea of, okay, where my kid is at, who she's around, what she's going to be dealing with. And there have been times where I've had to deal with people that I didn't like, okay, or they didn't like me for whatever reason. And they weren't always nice to me, but it wasn't about me, it was about her and what needed to happen for her. You know, um, my son has received his orders to go, to his next destination, and it's overseas. I might not get to see him before he leaves, but I am so excited for him, you know, and of course I want him close by, but it's not about me. And this is what I raised him for. I raised him to be able to be an independent adult. You know what I'm saying? I want him and Kennedy to experience life in a way that I didn't, and he doesn't have any kids. And, I'm like, go live, while you don't have any children or anything like that. Do your thing. You know what I'm saying? I didn't make the same decisions that Caleb made. And so by the time I was 22, I was married and I had him, and I don't regret that, not one bit. But he has an opportunity and Kennedy has an opportunity and to do things. And I support that, first and foremost. And so I just want some of you, and I honestly, I hate to say it, most of the time it's us women. You know what I mean? Stop dealing in emotion when it comes to your children and what their needs are. You know what I'm saying? If they're not in danger, if more than one person can love your kid, more than you could have your kid's best interest at heart. You know what I'm saying? I had a whole village of people helping me raise my kids, and they kept me sane. And I still go to them sometimes for advice and to help me, with the decisions when it comes to, the kids and stuff. And they're almost grown, you know. So I just want to encourage other parents to think about them, not yourself. So if you're a baby mama and you have a father of your child that wants to be there, that is trying to communicate, and I'll go even as far as to say has a decent mate that also wants to communicate and be in a good, place. Let all that stuff go. Move on. It ain't about you. Unless there's some harm coming to that child or somebody's mistreating your child, there's no need to be ignorant, if for some reason you and your kid can't get along, and somebody else can love them and I mean, it's gotten bad, let them, let them. Do what's best for your kids. There are women that know that they can't take care of a child and that their situation is so bad that they love that kid so much that they give them up so somebody can love them in the way that they can't. That is love and sacrifice. That's what, people, criticize people when they give up kids for adoption. But sometimes that is a love act. Okay, that's biblical. Okay, when you have a mom that'll put their child in a basket and float them out so they won't be killed, that's love. And look at somebody else raising them, knowing that's your baby, that's love. Okay, so get out your feelings, get out your limitations, get out of your fears, and do what's best for your kids and raise them. You know what I'm saying? Raise them to be little independent people that can make their own decisions and live life better than you chose to. All right, you guys, talk to you later.